Alright, so before we head inside, there's one more thing to talk about here, and that's going to be your wheels and tires and your wheel bearings. So these guys, it's generally a good idea to have them inspected either every year or every 3 to 5 thousand miles, depending on how much you're moving around with this thing. Um, yeah, what we're really looking for is just to make sure that the seals inside the wheel hubs are still in good shape and there's no grease coming out of them contaminating your brake shoes. Because if that happens, then your brakes aren't going to work so well, and not a very safe thing to deal with. So just something to keep in mind as far as maintenance goes with these guys too. And then the other thing we did do when we were walking around is this guy right here. This is a spray port as well. So just like in the compartment on the other side, you can just hook your hose straight into this guy. It's just got a little quick fitting on it. So you just hook up to that, and then you can mix your water as far as your temperature goes on the other side there, inside that compartment. But with that, we're ready to head inside. I'll get this door propped open. You got a little latch right here to open. And we'll head on in. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be this monitor panel. So this guy is a little bit different from a lot of the more common ones. So here you have all of your lighting controls and your water pump and tank heater controls and your slide out and awning controls as well. So up here, this is going to be your tank monitor itself. This shows you the levels of each one of your tanks. So all of them are empty right now. Freshwater is empty. Then you got black tank, and then you do have two gray tanks on here. They're all empty, and this is going to show you how charged your battery is. One thing to keep in mind with the battery is when you're plugged into shore power, this will show full all the time, regardless of whether or not there's even a battery connected. So keep an eye on that. It's just a good idea to unplug it once in a while, and you can see your battery voltage right down here. This is part of the solar controller, and this guy you shouldn't have to do anything with. It's been all set up and everything for you. But here you've got all of your lighting controls. When they're lit up blue, that means they're turned on. So this is your awning light for outside. These are your ceiling lights. You just click each button, you can turn them all on and off. And that's the majority of the lights inside. And then this is your awning control here. Your slide outs, the two in the living room, they're going to sound very similar. So I'm going to bring in one of them right now just so you can listen to it. I'm going to bring it all the way in. And once it's fully seated, you will hear like a ratcheting, clicking type of sound. That's totally normal. But once you hear that sound, you can just let go of the button and it's fully seated. You fully retract it. That's the sound you're looking for. And then it's going to be the same thing when you bring it back out. Once it's fully extended, you'll hear the same ratcheting sound. You know it's all the way out. And just as a good side note, when you're bringing these things and sending them out, just keep an eye on the surroundings. Make sure they're not going to hit anything. Make sure there's nothing in the way. Make sure all your drawers are closed, just so that you can prevent any damage from these guys opening and closing. Then, right here, you've got your controls for your AC, and this is for your vent fans. So here, just hit this button, hold it down for a moment, maybe.
It wants to focus on your hand every time you put
Gotcha.
your hand in there. It's okay.
And, alright, so you can just hit this button, it'll go through its different settings. You've got heat, you've got off, you've got just your fan, and you've got your cool for your AC. I'm going to turn it on cool, let it run for a moment. And then your vent fans, this is going to be the one for your kitchen, right on the ceiling over there. So you can actually, if you just hit the on button here, it'll open up the vent, and it'll turn the fan on. And then you can keep clicking this same button, and it's got 4 different fan speeds on it. So you can just hit it if you want it to pull air out faster. You'll hear it beep. You'll hear it speed up some. Then once you go through all the speed settings, it just goes back to the slowest one. And then if you hit the off button, it'll turn the fan off and it'll close it back up. And if you just want to open and close the vent, you can do that with these two buttons, and that'll just open up the vent, and it's not going to run the fan, in case you don't want to listen to it run. That's pretty much it for that. This little light switch right here is for your pendants in the kitchen, right above the kitchen sink. It turns them on and off. All the other light controls for the living room, they're either going to be on the light fixture itself, or they're going to be on this monitor panel, where all of your other switches are at. So we'll start out in the kitchen. We'll head this way. Right down here, this is just a safety device. This is your carbon monoxide and propane detector. It's always a good idea to test this guy out once in a while. There is a little test button on here. And another good thing to know about this is if it's beeping at you intermittently, like every 30 seconds or so, but it's not putting out an alarm, that just means your batteries up front are starting to go dead. And those batteries are the only thing that power this alarm. Just something to keep in mind if you're ever camping off grid or something like that, and you want to keep an eye on your battery level. Let's see, you've got your GFCI outlet right here. So like I said before, if your outlets aren't working, you just go through, hit the reset button on it. And then when it comes back on green, that means you got power back to your outlets. Inside of here, you got a pretty good sized little pantry. And it does have a motion activated light on it. So all kinds of storage for your goods, kitchen, and whatever you want to put in here. Your recliners are kind of the fancier ones. They do have the massage and heated seats. It's got a USB port on the back side of it. And it's also got underlighting on both sides as well. And that's just these three buttons here to control your heat and your massage and your light. And when each one comes on, it'll give you a different color light. And I did test them out, they do work. And then to open up your recliners, there's a little handle right between the seat cushions on all three of these recliners right here. So you just pull this guy up, it'll kick it out, and then you can kind of slide back in the recliner as well. It doesn't look like they go back very far, but they do go back all the way. They just kind of pull away from the wall a little bit when they do come out. That's pretty much it for the recliners. Your dinette over here, to adjust this table, you've got two little latches on here. So this guy, you pop that loose and you can spin this around however you want to do it. And then to turn this guy into a bed, you leave that one open. You open up this one as well. You pull up your cushions, and then you can just push this guy down. And it'll drop down into place. And then once it's down, you just hit your latches and it'll lock it into place. And then when you're ready to eat some dinner, you pop everything back open. Your table will come back up. You'll be ready to eat. And then in the living room, you also have two emergency exits. You've got one on this window and one on that window. And then all the shades throughout the camper, they're going to be this style. You just pull this cord down, drop it down the rest of the way. Sometimes it takes a couple of tugs to get these to lock into place. I really like these shades. They're my favorite style. Nice. They block out a lot of the sunlight and give you a good bit of privacy. Let's see. Above the dinette, you've got a good bit of storage up there as well. These lights above. Let's see, where's the switch at? So the switch for the dinette lights is right here. Actually, I haven't seen this style of switch before. It's kind of interesting.
It's dimmable.
That's what it says. That's interesting. It's kind of like a light. It's an actual light that comes out of this switch in the center. That's pretty cool. So you just tap your finger on it and it turns them on and off. It says dimmer, but I'm not exactly sure how to get them to dim. But that's how you turn those lights on. And then above the recliners, you've got a similar switch right here on the wall. So this will work out better to show you. You just tap it and you can turn them off and on. There's a little bit of light that comes out of that too. That's a pretty cool switch. So yeah, like I said, lots of overhead storage above your dinette. There's also more storage underneath the dinette. And you don't have to pop up the seat cushions to get to the sides. They've got these little cabinet faces. You can just open them up and slide whatever you want to store underneath that. And it's the same thing on the other side of the dyno. And aside from that, you've got your living room stuff, radio here. So this guy, you've got zone A and zone B on it, depending on whichever input you're running it off of. Your zone A is going to be your inside speakers. Zone B will be your outside speakers. And once you get this thing fired up, you can select each zone. You can turn them off and on. So if you want just music outside, then you can do that. Or if you want it to just be inside so you're not bothering neighbors or anything like that, you can just have it on zone A and just play your music inside. And then you've got your typical inputs on here. So you've got AM, FM, you can run it off a CD, Bluetooth or USB or your aux port. And it's got all of your other settings on here as well. So you can adjust and go through your equalizer, and adjust your music sounds and all that stuff. Then inside here, you've got your 3 remotes. So you've got one for your smart TV, one for your radio, and then this one here is for your electronic furnace fireplace thing underneath here. And you've got a few different lighting options on that guy. Change flame color. That one's my personal favorite. But if you don't want to burn propane, this thing will actually do a very good job of heating up most of the camper, especially this living room and that bedroom area there. If it's really cold at night, what you can do is kind of use this to supplement your propane furnace or vice versa. But yeah, if propane use is a concern for you, I would mostly just run this guy because it only runs off of 110. So it doesn't burn any propane, it's strictly electronic. Then all of your remotes, I'm going to stick inside your document bag here so everything's in one place. The other thing I put in here is a microwave plate, just so that it doesn't have a chance to rattle around and shatter. But inside your document bag is going to be all of your owner's manuals for your appliances, all of the literature that they send with the camper from your factory. And that's just going to be inside the drawer here. Let's talk about range. Let me go make sure the propane's turned on real quick. Give me just a moment.